Welcome back all you beautiful people to another episode of Shisha Saturdays. My name is Cars, and in this video I'm going to review the Hoob Flex, straight from Russia. So right off the bat, what I want to talk about in this hookah itself is the stem. It's the most obvious thing about it. It is a solid piece of work. It's actually not, none of it is modular, so it's all just stuck there. And the other amazing thing about this is not just the stem is, it's not just the stem that's, solid piece. Even the tray is stuck there, so you can't really clean it as easily as you would with another, with other trays that you get with other hookahs. But at least it has these fences, I think what you call them, these borders, so that the ash doesn't fall out, unlike with other box type hookahs that I've seen in the past. And next thing we want to talk about here is the hose. It's actually a kind of a, it's still a good quality hose. It's glossy, so there's a bit of stickiness that you feel when you're touching it. It's not those soft touch hoses, and it is lighter because it's not as thick as the Mei Customs hose that I that I reviewed in my last video. This actually, yeah. But the thing though with this is that the inner diameter is is the same. So if you're worried about getting a open draw, it's still giving you the same open draw as the Mei Customs hose. And one thing I want to talk about this is the ease of putting in and out these hose ports, or whatever you call them. And even here you see the let's take it out. Ooh. So even here you see it's easy to put in and out there we go. It's easy to put in and out of the hookah itself because it uses an O port, not like those traditional hookahs or even some hookahs where they use magnets or other stuff. This is a beautiful thing because it's easier to clean, to just take out and disassemble, at least from those small things. Even the purges use those O-rings itself. And there's actually another port here where you can put another hose if you had another adapter for the Hoob, or at least the O-ring adapter. So another cool thing I wanted to point about with this port here is that it's fixed. It's stable basically because they really made it for the hose itself, for the silicone hose that they have. And I compare it with the Mei Customs hose because it is a bit more thick and has a heavier weight to it. So when I was using it on this, it was actually going like that because of the weight that it had. But this one, it's just easily flush, and when I have it on the hookah itself, I don't really see anything happening with the port itself. But also, even if I was using the Mei hose, it was it was okay. Even if it had that bit of weight to it, it didn't really affect the session that much, because even when I was purging, I saw there was no smoke coming out of it, so it was still tight. It's still sealed in that way. Just a consideration for you guys who like to use different hoses, especially if you have like something like a Moses hose. I don't know how heavy that is in comparison, but that's a thing to consider, of course. Another cool thing about this hookah itself is that it has no grommets, at least no stem to base grommets. So it is using just magnets to seal it all in, just 4 magnets, seal it in. The cool thing with it is that some people, they might still be cringing at doing this, but you can carry it actually just from the stem, because carrying it from the base is actually hard. And carrying it from the base is hard because it's a box. But for me, I like using the stem just to hold it in, pull it up, because the magnets itself are more secure than even the tightest of grommets. So that's another thing to consider. One weird thing about this is that if you want to talk about the chamber itself, I don't know if it's a common or a traditional chamber. As you can see from this clip, it's just a flat, it's just really flat. And you can say that it's traditional because, you know, it's goes straight to the port itself. But if you just make it concave a bit and still maintain that, you know, style, then it's gonna be a common chamber. So you guys who've experienced with these, you know, with these box type hookahs, tell me if you think this is a common or a traditional chamber. Just hit me up on the comments down below. So the hard thing with the bass also is that since it is a box type, I probably think this is the same thing with any other box type hookahs, is that it's hard to purge all of the smoke out. So as you can see, I'm like smoking. And then when I do this hole purely filled with smoke, especially since I'm doing high heat, I get a lot of smoke inside the bass. It takes me about 4 to 5 purges before I clean it out, you know, totally. And again, that's another thing to consider, especially if you're smoking like me, like a high heat type of session, then you would want to consider that, because at least from what I learned with other guys in, you know, in the groups, is that if you have a high heat session, then you're more inclined to purge everything out before you take another draw, especially if you haven't drawn for, you know, maybe just a minute or so. So yeah, fresh smoke is not always, but I think it's preferred. And this one, it's not that friendly for that for those kinds of situations though. I just want to go back to the hose itself. So you see the handle, it says here the XHoob. Can see if it focus. There we go. So you see it's the XHoob. I don't know if it's XHoob or just Hoob, but it's a rectangular handle. So for me, this isn't really the most comfortable thing to hold on to while I'm smoking, because it's like I'm playing with a piece of, you know, wood basically. Just not ergonomic type of handle, which is what I want to say. And these days there's a lot of ergonomic handles already, or even just a straight hose is easier to the hand to hold, because this one is just, you know, you can feel the edges every time you hold onto it. It's just not that pleasing for me. And I don't know if this is supposed to happen, but it, you know, it takes on and off like this, so it's kind of weird for me. And for myself, I like longer handles, really, because, you know, they're just easier. It's easier to hold them, you know, to put your hand at a lower position instead of just having to hold it always close to your mouth, and it's going to be, you know, a strain to your arm, at least for me. Yeah, and so the last thing I want to talk about is the draw. So the draw for me, if I said before that the meme was a middle ground between traditional and open, this one is a middle ground from the meme and open, because it's not as restrictive as the meme, but it's still not the most open type of hookah that I've smoked out of. And again, that's also another thing of preference. With other people, they like more open, more restricted. If you find that open is too open for you and then meme is also too restricted for you, then this might actually be a good bet for someone of your caliber. And as you can see, I hope it's translated well to the video, but I can still make good clouds, even though it's, you know, semi-open type of draw. It's really just with the you know, the amount of heat that you have, the heat management, the packing, the tobacco. It's really all on that. With the hookahs itself, probably even if you use a very, very low quality hookah, if you're using it properly, it's still gonna smoke good, but, you know, the hookah itself might not just last. So I don't know with this, because I haven't had it for a long time. I'm just loaning it from Hassan in Hookah Shisha Central, and I hope it performs well. I mean, I hope it lasts long, because he uses this at his lounge, and, you know, for a lounge owner, the longevity of a hookah is pretty important, I believe. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say for the video. If you're wondering what I'm smoking, it's a mix of watermelon, melon, pineapple, and mint that I actually copied from a vapor friend that I had, not Van, and I tried his vape and it was good flavor, and then I was like, hey, maybe I should, you know, transfer it over to Shisha, and it's actually a good mix. So if you guys just want to try it, just try the mix out. I'm sure you're not gonna be disappointed, especially if you like any of the flavors in it, and if you don't dislike any of the flavors in it. So one more thing I wanted to mention is that the diffuser, it has a diffuser, but it's built in. You cannot take it off. So if you're the type of person who prefers to have a a quiet session sometimes and a rumbly session sometimes, this isn't gonna be your thing because you don't have pretty much a choice in it. Although the diffuser itself is just a straight, it's just part of the stem, and then they just poked holes in it, which is good, as you can you'll hear later or hear now. It doesn't really, it's really super quiet. I think it's even more quiet than the Mei, but that's subjective at least. And I can't even hear anything that much from the bowl, but then I am using a Hookah 80v80 bowl, which is a funnel type bowl, and the other video I had a traditional type of bowl, so that could also play a factor. So I don't know, and I really don't care, honestly. So that's it. If you guys like the video, hit thumbs up down below and comment if you've tried the Hoob Flex in the past. What are your opinions on it? Did I say anything right or something wrong, or maybe something you agree on? Just hit me up on the comments down below. Remember to hit the red subscribe button so you can be subscribed pretty much on my channel, and especially hit the notification bell to the left of the subscribe button so you can be notified on my videos every time I upload them. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, the last thing I always love to say is share this video with all of your beautiful friends, and I'll just be doing a smoke montage of pretty much every hookah reviewer out there. So here you go. So be sure to check out my other videos every Tuesday and Friday. I think I don't upload that much on those ones, but I upload every Saturday, definitely. These hookah reviews I'm gonna try to make every week, so at least I'm just gonna borrow from Sasan, and just hit me up if you have any other suggestions, and I'll just make sure to do them. Check out the video to my right for whatever video that YouTube recommends from me, and to the bottom right for my latest video, and also down below is my face. You can click on that if you haven't clicked on the red subscribe button yet. See you guys again. Happy smoking.